It is a gorgeous afternoon here at Sloan Park in Mesa, Arizona, and we're set for Cubs Cactus League action. It is our 69th year of Cubs coverage here on WGN Sports. The Cubs battle the Royals today. Great to have you with us for another season of Cubs baseball here on WGN. Jim DeShays and Len Casper. 101 wins when you combine the regular season and the postseason run. This team is very talented, and with 2 weeks to go before opening day, they're starting to ratchet up the intensity.
Yeah, I think they're going to see more at-bats for the everyday players. We've got a good group of core players in the lineup here today for the Cubs. John Lester's going to make the start. Hopefully he'll be able to stretch things out. And so far things have gone very nicely for this club. Pretty much they have been healthy. Haven't been winning a lot of baseball games, but I don't think that really concerns Joe Maddon all that much.
John Lester will start the season as the number 2 starter behind Jake Arrieta. We know about the throwing issues, but if you're going to work on it, you might as well do it here, right?
Yeah, last time out he threw a 5-inning simulated game. This Kansas City club likes to run a lot, so if they have base runners, I'm sure they're going to challenge him. He's been very upfront about it so far this spring, saying, yeah, this is a problem I've dealt with going back to high school. And I think that's probably a pretty healthy way to go about it. Instead of trying to sweep it under the rug, go ahead, confront it, work on it. It bothered him all last year, but at the end of the day, he still had a very good year, and he's had a very good career.
Should be a fun matchup today as the Cubs welcome in the defending world champion Kansas City Royals. It's the first day of spring. Sellout crowd here today. Cubs baseball coming up next. Cubs baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Honda. Get amazing deals at the Honda Dream Garage Sales Event, now at your Honda dealer. State Farm. Combine your car and home insurance with State Farm and start saving. Call your State Farm agent today or find one at statefarm.com. Mattress Firm, where we want you to sleep happy guaranteed. Remember, if it's over 8, it's time to replace. Your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. What a day here in Mesa. Temperatures already in the upper 80s. Lots of blue skies and green grass here at Sloan Park. Now the defending World Series champion Royals starting lineup. Alcides Escobar will start it. Mike Moustakas is at third base. Omar Infante, the designated hitter today. Paulo Orlando's in right. Raymond Fuentes in center. Lorenzo Cain will be there on opening day. Raul Mondesi Jr. made his major league debut in the World Series. Drew Butera is at first. Former Cardinal Tony Cruz is back of the plate. And Terrence Gore will play left.
Cubs defensively, a lot of familiar faces out there this afternoon. You're going to see Jorge Soler in left, Dexter Fowler center, newbie Jason Hayward in right, third to first, Bryant Russell, Munenori Kawasaki, non-roster, former Blue Jay, will play second base today. Anthony Rizzo is your first sacker, and David Ross, as is customary, is behind the plate with the big lefty on the mound, and that, of course, is John Lester. Year 2 of a 6-year deal with the Cubs. Got off to a slow start last year, if you recall. Had a 6.23 ERA in April. Really turned things around. Had a 3.04 earned run average after the All-Star break. As you look at his season totals, 11 up, 12 down, a 3.34 earned run average for the 32-year-old.
This will be his second Cactus League start. Last time out in a minor league game, which is pretty common. Jake Arrieta yesterday worked in a minor league contest, a little bit more of a controlled environment. Let's get the umpires. Jim Joyce will call balls and strikes. We love that strike call from the veteran.
The Lorax. And let it fly.
Eddings, Miller, and Woodring on the bases, and they are likely to rotate. Big crowd. It's a sellout. Looking at upwards of 15,000 fans to see the Royals and the Cubs. Cubs at 5-13-1. The Royals come in 10-12 on the spring. And the first pitch is fouled off by Escobar to get us started.
And not a lot of the Royals regulars have made this trip over here to Mesa. They just got done playing a weekend series in San Antonio against the Rangers. But they've got a handful of their regulars here, including Escobar, Moustakas, who's on deck.
Third and final meeting of the spring between these two teams. The 0-2. Missed by much. One thing you notice, the Cubs are wearing their spring training blues even at home, which is different, but you see that AZ logo. These are special spring training uniforms, so the Cubs are wearing them home and road throughout the spring. Kawasaki makes the play. He's been really good offensively and defensively in a bid for a utility spot.
And not many openings, if any, on this ball club. Perhaps one in the bullpen, maybe an extra position player, and Kawasaki has positioned himself well. The reputation is that he's a solid defender, middle infielder, can play both second and short. And he's having, as Len mentioned, a pretty good spring with the bat as well.
Cubs shift against Mike Moustakas, but maybe not as drastically as they would have a year ago. He really made an effort last year to change his style and beat that pull shift, and it worked. As he pulls one on the ground.
Didn't read the script. But I think he got a base hit the other way when we played him the other day, I believe. Well, the sacrifice a hitter makes when he does that, when you try to shoot the ball the other way, you're sacrificing power. But I think a lot of times a smart hitter will change his approach depending on who the pitcher is. And for instance, in this case with a tough lefty out there, if you're a left-handed hitter, you know, the chances you're going to get something you can jerk over the wall are not great. So it probably makes more sense against a lefty for Moustakas to try to shoot the ball the other way on occasion.
Infante missed the postseason last year with an oblique injury, then right elbow surgery over the winter. Lester's been sharp here early, working with David Ross. He should match up quite a bit once again in the regular season. Joyce's voice already getting a workout.
Probably doesn't speak for 2 months after the season. Just uses flashcards.
Well, great to be back on WGN. Good old Channel 9. Season gets underway 2 weeks from tomorrow. Infante held up.
A well-placed breaking ball trying to get Infante to chase, and he was able to check. Fastball, cutter, of course, the big pitch for Lester. Curve and a change.
You got him. Cubs coming up when we come back. Starting lineup, Dexter Fowler in the leadoff spot. Jason Hayward batting second. It's Bryant, Rizzo, and Soler in the middle with Addison Russell at short. David Ross catching and hitting seventh. Munenori Kawasaki in for Ben Zobrist. And John Lester is batting. As the Royals use the DH, the Cubs do not.
Kansas City Royals defensively brought to you by me. Gore, Fuentes, Orlando, left, center, right. Moustakas, Escobar, a Gold Glover, Mondesi, and Butera. He's a catcher. He's playing first today. Tony Cruz is doing the catching, and really acquired a right-hander. Ian Kennedy will pitch for Kansas City this afternoon. He made 30 starts with the Padres last year. Did not have a particularly good year, 9-15, 4.28 ERA, pitching in a very pitcher-friendly ballpark. He signed a 5-year, $70 million deal to join this Royals rotation.
The fastball is inside to switch hitting Dexter Fowler. Re-signed with the Cubs in late February. Just as it was being reported, he had inked a deal with the Baltimore Orioles. His teammates didn't even realize it till he showed up here. A 1-year contract with a mutual option for next year. Really good second half for the Cubs last season. And that's one thing he does very well. Makes the leadoff walk.
He's got a very discerning eye, as does Jason Hayward, Rizzo, Zobrist. Hard to find any real significant flaws in this Cubs lineup, whether they're facing a righty or a lefty.
Jason Hayward Signed an 8-year contract. The largest in Cubs history at $184 million. He does have opt-outs built in after 2018 and 19. A rare free agent at 26 years old. A few years ago, he got hit by a pitch, suffered a broken jaw, so he wears that front face flap. Javier Baez wears one as well. I haven't asked those guys about it, JD, but I'm guessing it's almost like a seatbelt. That it would probably at this point feel very weird without it.
Yeah, and I think unless you were having some vision issues with it, or if it were uncomfortable, why not? Once you get used to it, why not just take advantage of that extra layer of protection?
In Baez's case, he had some dental work, and I think it just felt comfortable. Two strikes on Hayward. Kennedy, 31 years old, 6 feet 200 pounds. He was a 21-game winner 5 years ago with Arizona. Inside, 1-2.
Yeah, had a very high home run rate last year. He gave up 31 home runs and 168 in the third innings. I think the Royals expect that will come down, even though he was in a pitcher's ballpark. That was a normally high home run rate. Good strikeout numbers, keeps the walks down. Reasons to believe he'll have a bounce back year.
Slot in behind Yordano Ventura. Edinson Volquez as Fowler will take second on a wild pitch.
Tough chance for Cruz trying to square up behind that one, and Fowler into scoring position now. He's top of the order guys with their patient approach can really put a lot of pressure on an opposing starting pitcher.
Fouled out of play. Still 2-2.
From a pitcher's perspective, no better way to start a ball game than a quick, breezy 1-2-3 first inning. Again, first pitch out to start the ball game, just kind of get into the rhythm, the flow of the game. When you've got hitters who are willing to take some strikes, work some counts, take advantage of maybe some, being out of sorts early on, it can really impact the flow of the game.
Oh, 2 to 3-2. Bryant on deck. Three major award winners for the Cubs last year. He was the National League Rookie of the Year. Got him. We thought it was ball 4. Joyce thought it was a strike.
Well, let's see. What do you think? Well, borderline.
It's kind of the classic best guess, right?
Yeah, and obviously it helps if you hit your spot. If Cruz is set up outside and has to reach back across the plate for that one, he's not going to get the call.
Bryant takes ball 1. National League Rookie of the Year unanimously at every first place vote. 6th Cub to win the award. First since Giovanni Soto back in 2008. The other fun one, if you look at some of his numbers, 26 homers. He drove in 99, hit 31 doubles, 87 runs, 77 walks. The only other rookie in Major League history to reach all those numbers was a guy named Ted Williams in 1939. I think this should bode well.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well for Teddy Ballgame. But the interesting thing about Bryant, despite all that success, he went home this winter and retooled his swing a little bit. Again, it speaks to the kind of kid he is, and He wants to get that much better.
Tapper, Kennedy off the mound. Fowler's now at third, 2 outs. Make sure you tweet us your Cubs selfies to hashtag WGN Cubs. We may use it during our fan cam segment. And I know there are Cub fans out there who have literally been waiting 5 months to tweet us their Cubs selfie. So today's the day. Now Anthony Rizzo. Runner third, 2 outs. And a called strike. So if you're making out a list of potential, maybe the top 10 MVP candidates in the league, it's Rizzo. Knocks it foul. If there are 3 Cubs that you could put on that list,
sure.
Rizzo, Hayward, Bryant. Well, we don't have to name all 10. You'd start with Bryce Harper and Andrew McCutchen, but
yeah, this is a good exercise. Joey Votto, but they're not going to win a lot of games.
Paul Goldschmidt. Is a loaded roster for sure.
So if you were to handicap this thing, and I imagine you could probably find a bookmaker that would give you some action on this. You might put Rizzo at the top of the list, given the fact that everybody expects the Cubs to win.
And that usually helps MVP voting. And a good club. One and 2 on the Cubs' first baseman.
Of course, if you have multiple guys on the same team having monster years, you could split the vote, and then you'd have a brokered convention. It'd be a floor fight.
That is a timely punchline. See Rizzo choking up with 2 strikes. 2 and 2.
Brian, you talked earlier about Moustakas beating the shift, and with Anthony, what we've seen, not necessarily, always thinking about going the other way, but he takes a pure hitter's approach. He doesn't take a slugger's approach. He'll change his approach, whether it's a righty or lefty, whether he's ahead or behind in the count.
That one will reach the seats.
Some hitters, their primary focus is just to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and they're really not going to change their approach based on base, out, or count situations. Rizzo's not that guy. He thinks more like a pure hitter.
Fowler at third. He walked to start the inning. A line drive right into that shift as Escobar had him played perfectly. Having some fun in Mesa. Scoreless after an inning.
Ladies Baseball blog at WGNTV.com. The blog is sponsored by Jeff Vukovich, a nationwide insurance agent serving the area for 38 years now. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
Lester went 1-2-3 in the first. Paolo Orlando playing right. Looks at a strike. Lester seems more relaxed. This is year 2. Looking bat fly ball as Soler grabs it for the out. I think John put a lot of pressure on himself last season. You mentioned the tough start he got off to for signing that big deal. He's been very upfront about the throwing issues. Kind of tackled it head on. Said, I can't shy away from it. I think having John Lackey here adds some more comfort. They are best of friends. Herman Fuentes takes a strike.
Well, he really did kind of weather a storm early on last year. Expectations sky high, of course, when he signed the kind of contract that he did, and then he got off to a sluggish start. A lot of gnashing of teeth around town, and he settled in and pitched very well. And you're right. It's just human nature to put extra pressure on yourself when you sign a deal like that.
Not quite sure what that was. Jim Joyce took a few steps out and kind of, I don't know if John had something in his eye. Joyce was asking him if he was all right. 2 quick outs. Raul Mondesi Jr. This is an amazing story. Mondesi, the first player ever to make his major league debut in a World Series. Game 3 against the Mets. And what makes it even better is he hadn't even been above Double-A before debuting in the World Series. And if the name sounds familiar, yeah, he's the son of the former Major League outfielder, Raul Sr.
Raul Sr. had a very nice career. Power guy with a cannon for throwing arm.
1-1 from Lester. Tap foul.
So how did it come to be that Mondesi ended up on their World Series roster?
I think he replaced Terrence Gore.
So he brought it just as a speed guy, a speed option.
Yeah, and he struck out as a pinch hitter in Game 3. And he strikes out here. So Lester has been very efficient through 2 innings. 0-0.
following the postseason run and an impressive offseason. Well, there's tremendous excitement leading up to the home opener. Show your support for Cubs baseball. From the beginning, April and May offer fans the best availability to get the seat you want. Tickets available at Cubs.com.
Jorge Soler swings and misses on a breaking pitch from Ian Kennedy.
Command and diversity strengths for Kennedy. He's not an overpowering guy, but he has good control, throws fastball, cutter, curve, and change.
Handed by sure-handed Alcides Escobar. We'll bring up Addison Russell. The gap. First hit of the ball game. Addison Russell is aboard.
It's made a good sound, didn't it?
Yeah.
Cracked that one. Addison having a good spring, hitting about 270, a couple of home runs. You talked about John Lester being more relaxed, but you see it with this kid too. Settling in nicely.
David Ross, a day after his 39th birthday. This will be his final major league season. Of all the great notes about David Ross, I think the best one is that he has spent a majority of his career as a backup catcher, and he has never and will never go into a big league camp as a non-roster invitee. He has always had a major league contract. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you're not going to find many 39, 38, 37-year-old backup catchers who can make that claim. Well, you're not going to find many 39-year-old catchers, period.
There's an ex-catcher. Last year's manager of the year in the National League. And I would say Joe is more relaxed this year, but he's not. He was relaxed from day one when he took this job. Swing and a miss. And on the other side, a couple of postseasons ago, Ned Yost was on the hot seat. Remember, he got booed during the wild card game, and if they didn't beat Oakland, there were questions. But fast forward now, a year and a half later, he's a World Series champion, two-time defending American League champs, winningest manager in Royals history. 2 outs.
Yeah, and he still has his detractors. You still read those stories of the Royals winning in spite of Ned Yost.
Pitch to Kawasaki is in for a strike. Now the Royals are a National League type team playing in the American League. Play great defense, excellent bullpen. They don't strike out very much offensively. Slide step that time by Kennedy.
Yeah, they don't work a lot of walks. They hit for a high average. They're a line drive hitting team. They remind me a little bit of the Cardinals 2 or 3 years ago. They, the Cardinals, that club didn't hit for a lot of power, but they had a bunch of high average hitters, good defenders, speedy guys that cover a lot of ground in the field. It's interesting, though, to have the success that the Royals have had with a pretty mediocre starting rotation. I mean, it's high average hitters, good defense, and an outstanding bullpen has been the recipe.
Maybe the answer is you don't have to be great at everything, but if you're good enough in most areas, you can. You can make it work.
Right, and we always want to have these cliches or these adages. You got to win with starting pitching, or you got to win with there's different ways to win, and they've proven it.
2-2 now to Kawasaki. He's a high energy player. It's Russell at first. 2-2 pitch. And we'll do it again.
Royals starting pitchers last year had a .434 ERA, 12th best in the American League. They pitched the fewest innings of any starting rotation in the AL.
Plays with a lot of flair. Russell goes on the 3-2. Hit well, but it will die in the glove of Raymond Fuentes. It made Kennedy work, but he has not allowed a run through 2. Official Cubs MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC. Glenn and JD and our WGN Sports crew from sunny Mesa.
I have hat envy. The big straw hat that guy was wearing.
Gorgeous day, and the weather has been incredibly consistent.
Look at that. That is a quality lid right there. You would rock that, Len?
Sure. Drew Butera It's a pitch inside. Bounces to Bryant. Bring up Tony Cruz. Cubs are off tomorrow. That'll be their only off day of the spring. Or at least while we're here in Arizona. We'll be on with you on Saturday here on WGN against the Giants. Friday, April 1st from Las Vegas against the Mets. Cubs will then travel to Anaheim. They'll have an off day on Saturday the 2nd. As Cruz serves one into left center. That is the first Royals hit off John Lester. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Lester had retired the first 7 before the Cruz hit. Here's Terrence Gore playing left. Now the Cubs will play the Angels in an exhibition game at Angels Stadium on Sunday, April 3rd, and then open the season against the Angels the next night.
It was very peculiar. But they leave here, head to Vegas, play a couple games in Vegas against the Mets first before heading out to Anaheim.
We have an off day on a Wednesday back here in Arizona before a 4-game series versus the Diamondbacks. The Wrigley Field opener will be Monday night, April 11th, right here on WGN. Cubs have added metal detectors at all the gates at Wrigley Field, so if you're coming out, you're encouraged to get there early. Two balls and a strike on Gore.
Speed guy showing bunt here. We've seen Bryant pinch in a little bit at third base.
Ross will have a quick chat with his pitcher.
First base runner of the day, and John a little quick to home plate that time with his delivery, and maybe David Ross out there to deliver a message. Look, let's not worry too much about the base runner. It's just play a little game of pitch and catch here.
I guess it's appropriate during an election year that the Royals have a Kennedy and a Gore in their lineup. And a Cruz.
They do.
Trump that, Jim DeShays.
I cannot.
It's a 3-1. Now full 3-2.
Likely running here.
There goes Cruz, and ball 4. Bring up Escobar. Well, as good as the Royals were last year, and they were a big-time comeback team, you got to have a lot of things go right. And you look at Escobar's offensive season last year, among all qualifying offensive players, he finished second to last in OPS in the regular season. 614. In the postseason, 861. He was the ALCS MVP. So Those are the kinds of performances you need.
Lightning in a bottle, and a lot of times it's those guys that do become the postseason heroes because the middle of the order thumpers get pitched so carefully to.
He also hit an inside the park home run leading off the bottom of the first of game one. As Hayward will make the catch and the runners will hold. So 2 outs for Moustakas. So the Royals will actually host the Mets to open up their regular season. So they're going to do kind of the banner ceremony opening night and then do the ring ceremony game 2.
Yeah. Take that dagger and just twist it a little bit more.
Two on, 2 down, 3rd inning. Moustakas fouls.
This is the time of spring training that really calls for patience, I guess, on the part of the players. You know, you come here, you're very excited to be here and to get rolling in those early workouts, and that kind of gets to be old hat. You're kind of jacked up for the first games, and that's very exciting for a while. Now you get to that period in spring training where guys are getting a little itchy, want to start playing games for real. Try the occasional night game, the day off tomorrow. The trip to Vegas helps break things up a little bit.
Him up. Bryant into foul territory, and the inning comes to an end. As the Royals strand 2, still 0-0.
We are scoreless, bottom of the 3rd. Cub fans take the Cubs on the Move Fitness Challenge. Cubs want to hear from kids 7 to 13 in the Chicago area. Tell us why fitness is important and how it is part of your daily life. Submit your entries at CubsOnTheMoveChallenge.com before April 4th for your chance to work out with Cub players.
John Lester. It's his first at bat of the spring. That record 0 for 66 to start his major league career before he got his first hit off John Lackey.
Yeah, he's a good buddy and now teammate. Again.
Good contact, but ground out to Mondesi. Back to the top now, and Dexter Fowler.
Okay, so John had how many hits last year?
2, I believe.
I'm gonna. If I set the over/under at 8, what would you take for John Lester base hits this year?
Probably the under. and I like it. I like his offense. He can hit. He had 4 hits last year.
I'm going over.
I'm going over. He had 4.
Yeah, I'm going over.
Now, I might go under on 8 hits, but I would say he'll hit a home run.
Okay.
How's that?
It's good.
I was talking with Jake Arrieta. He thinks he can win a Silver Slugger.
Well, now that Woody's in the bullpen, he's been
Jake
Bumgarner, right? He'd be the odds-on favorite.
Yes. Yep. Zach Greinke. That'll get down. Fowler on his way to second. On his way to third, and he's going to get there as Orlando missed the cutoff man. It's a triple.
Well, we've seen a lot of 3-base hits down here in spring training. Here's our drive of the game brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan.com. Dexter Fowler legging one out as he rips it into the right field corner. Peek over his shoulder to assess the situation, and off he goes. Long, striding it.
Chance to get the first run here. Runner at third, 1 out. And 1-0 on Hayward. Caught looking in the first inning as Kennedy works from the windup.
Like 13, 15 triples one year in Denver.
I'll get the job done. As Fuentes battles the sun, makes the catch, and Fowler will trot home. Cubs lead 1-0.
Fowler's speed, his ability to get to third base, sets the table for Hayward. He can get him home with a fly ball, a deep fly ball. With a pretty good charge in it, Fuentes has to battle the sun, and Fowler pretty much could have walked home.
Yeah, Dexter's been in double digits in triples 4 times. He had 8 last year. Actually, going into this season, he has 65 career triples and 65 home runs. Two 2-0 on Bryant. Mm, 2-1.
Good aggressive hack there on 2-0. Yeah, we talked earlier about him reworking his swing and retool. I think I said the word retool, which is probably a bit of an exaggeration. He's just trying to spend a little more time in the strike zone, maybe drop the hands a little bit, and not be quite as steep with his swing path. And the hope is to, more consistent contact, cut down on the strikeouts. He has what the scouts refer to as easy power. He just looks like the bat is gliding through the zone. Doesn't look like he's swinging hard at all, but when he connects, it goes a long way.
Rizzo on deck. Full count on Bryant. Triple sack fly to give the Cubs the lead. Takes it for ball 4. Well, you've said this before, and I think it's a great way to kind of dissect the lineup. And it's the 3-2 theory, and it's when push comes to shove, who's going to swing and who won't. And the Cubs are chock full of guys who, by and large, are not going to swing at that pitch on 3-2.
I think a lot of these hitters, opposing pitchers, would be wise to press their advantage when they get ahead in the count. Go ahead and continue to attack as opposed to nibble.
Check out our new Lexus Run Predictor. That's the chance to score a run in this situation. Brought to you by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer. So you don't score very often in this spot. And as we'll find throughout the year, that percentage has more to do with outs than bases. Right? Runner at first, nobody out versus runner at third, 2 outs. You'd rather have the no outs. A base hit. So Bryant will head to third. And he is just in. Orlando with a nice one-hop throw and nearly got him.
Look at Rizzo going down that back knee. Orlando right over the top. Good, strong one-hop throw. Yeah, the math changes a little bit too when a guy like Anthony Rizzo is in the batter's box. And that's why we're talking about the base out situations. That's why the sacrifice bunt has fallen out of favor with so many managers.
Inside on Soler. So let's go first and third. So increases.
That base hit by Rizzo was worth 17 percentage points of value.
Right. Way up in the air. And out of play. That was a major league pop-up.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this. Soler, one of his missions this year is to try to get the ball airborne a little bit more. Hit the ball hard, hit it on a line last year. Really turned it on at the end of the year in terms of plate discipline, and that's kind of the guy we expected to see all year long. But if you eliminate the personnel, don't worry about where you are in the batting order, who's up. You're better off with a man on first and nobody out than a man on second and 1 out in terms of run expectancy.
Correct. Yep.
And that's what, and that's why Ned was on the hot seat over there, because he really liked the bunt and he took a lot of heat because of it.
Swing and a miss. Well, I don't have the actual numbers. I should say this. There are two different things with run expectancy, and that is how many runs might you score in any given situation, and then the idea of whether you score one run or not. And yeah, runner at first, nobody out. When you do the gory math, you've got a chance to score more runs than a runner at second and 1 out.
Right.
So Kennedy again has worked pretty hard through his 3 innings. The Cubs get to him though here in the third. lead the Royals 1-0 in Cactus League play. John Lester against Omar Infante. And strike one. Just to put a bow on our conversation. This goes back a few years, but just looking up Baseball Prospectus had that run expectancy matrix. So from 2011, runner at first, nobody out, you're expected to score 0.85 runs, whereas a runner on second and one out, 0.65 runs. So it's subtle.
Yeah, and depending on the makeup of your club, obviously, and then the personnel changes the math. That's why you have your pitchers bunt most of the time. Not always. Joe Madden likes to let his pitchers swing in what appear to be bunt situations.
Pretty well to center as Fowler tracks.
This is a must-have item. On Monday, April 11th, the Cubs take on the Reds. It's their home opener. First pitch will be at 7:05. First 30,000 fans in attendance will receive the official Cubs magnet schedule presented by Giordano's. For more information, visit Cubs.com.
And speaking of the math, Joe relies on the Cubs analytics department. He calls them the nerds or the geeks, affectionately. He may not hit the pitcher eighth this year, and some other teams may. You know, the Diamondbacks are toying with it. The Giants. Joe talks a lot about Addison Russell. And that was a bit of a special circumstance, trying to protect him. Today, Lester hitting in the 9 spot. And I'm not really sure if the math says one way is better than the other. It might just be kind of a wash, you know?
Yeah, and that was the impression I got talking to Joe last year as the season rolled on. He kept talking about, well, we're going to keep looking at it. We're going to keep crunching the numbers. And as he says, let it play. Let's just let it play, watch it develop. How many plate appearances are you getting with men on base for the guys in the middle of your order? I think it helps to drive that decision a lot.
Toward the middle and through for a base hit. So Orlando is on.
Good pitch, but Orlando stays back nicely on it. Would not have been surprised to see Russell pick that ball. He's getting to the point with Addison Russell out there, expect him to catch everything. Made a sparkling play here the other night up the middle.
Go foul.
So with the ongoing saga of John Lester and trying to control the running game, this would be an opportunity, you would think, for him to go over there a couple of times just to get, try to get comfortable with it. Been doing a lot of work on the backfields.
I watched one of his sessions the other day. Just about every throw was perfect.
Well, that time he quick pitched Orlando. Orlando was about a foot off the base when the pitch was being delivered. Never taken his lead.
Four steals last year against Lester, the most versus any pitcher. But If you look at the top five, Lester, Tyson Ross, A.J. Burnett, Jake Arrieta, Garrett Cole. Delayed steal here by Orlando, and he's safe. So those top five, pretty good pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, the fact that he has a hard time holding base runners, or a pitcher who maybe doesn't feel this position particularly well. Obviously, those are flaws in a pitcher's game, but there's so much more to what they do, and he's really good at the rest of it.
By the way, that was a textbook delayed steal by Paulo Orlando. Right center, Hayward, and Fowler will have to chase it down, and actually it'll bounce out of play. So that stolen base actually will lead to a run, as Orlando is in. Here's on the delayed steal. You see David Ross ends up a little flat-footed because he's not expecting the runner to go.
That was a good look at it there from our high home camera. Shuffle, and then go. Which is ironic, because I think if you're teaching, going to coach somebody to try to steal a base against John Lester, it's, hey, get a huge lead and go early. Force him to make that throw. Orlando did just the opposite, employing the delayed steal.
To see a switch hitter. Struck out his first at bat. And the throw goes behind the runner and safe at third. So Fuentes picks up a steal.
Again, unconventional. And is this a guy who got picked off, or a guy who was baiting David Ross into that throw with the idea of taking third base?
With Mike Jerschley, the third base coach.
You can vote at home. Vote in. Did he get away with one? Was he going to be picked off and he just got lucky? Or was that his plan all the way along?
Infield in. Called strike three.
The fact that he started to go back to the bag as David came out of his crouch leads me to believe that he was picked off and got away with it.
Fastball, by the way, that struck out Mondesi, clocked at 93. Here's Butera, infield back with 2 outs. Yeah, I think I'm with you on this.
Yeah, let's take a look at Fuentes here. See, shuffle, but what his first, he plants his feet, starts to think and to go back and realizes he's got no shot. And David would have been better off maybe pump fake one time, give himself a little time to assess the situation, and then he would have been able to make a play on Fuentes either at second or third. So if you voted he was trying to go back to second base, you win.
The outside corner. What do they win, Johnny?
They get a home edition of our game. Buffoonery at the ballpark.
Two-one pitch. 2-2. We will not see the Royals during the regular season. The Cubs will play the White Sox, as they normally do in interleague play, and then the American League West. We will open in Anaheim. Called strike 3, and that will end the inning. And the Royals tie it. It's 1-1 here in the fourth. Schedule to start the regular season. The DH will be in order in Anaheim, and I think the Cubs will use it. Cubs at the Diamondbacks, 4-game set. And then back home, the Wrigley Field opener right here on WGN, April the 11th. Brought to you by Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or localfordstores.com. 1-0 to Addison Russell is on the outside corner, playing his natural position short. Made the switch from second to short late last year. Starlin Castro went to second and that great finish. Cubs traded Starlin to the New York Yankees in the Adam Warren deal. Ben Zobrist will be the Cubs' everyday second baseman. He and Russell have worked well together this spring. Called strike 3. If not Joe Maddon's favorite player of all time, I would say Ben Zobrist is in the team picture.
Yeah, there's high marks across the board for his ability on the field, his versatility. Great guy in the clubhouse. Just a good, solid, all-around guy and a tremendous baseball player. Kennedy getting Russell there, a little cut fastball for strike 3. That's been a big weapon for Lester here today as well.
Ball 1 to Ross. The coldest day in the history of ever last year when Ross beat the Royals. That little bloop single on a Sunday, late May. Cubs were wearing their federal jerseys, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Whales.
That's right.
Are you just agreeing with me just because?
No,
I
was running through the highlight reel in my mind, trying to bring that up. And when you threw the Federals thing out there, the Whales or whatever, I remember Rossi in that uniform jumping up and down.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Kennedy's getting serious here. Five strikeouts for him now. This time Again, that sweeping, cutting fastball off the outside edge.
Kawasaki was late. Fastball at 93. Shows bunt, and the pitch is off the plate outside. Cubs bench and the makeup of it could be affected by a bullpen that includes a lot of guys who can start, and guys who've been stretched out this year and who will be able to throw multiple innings. So it's possible you could maybe go with one fewer reliever, add an extra bench guy. We will see. Kennedy has fanned 4 in a row. It's 1-1 after 4 from Mesa.
On top half of the 5th, Cubs destinations travel packages include tickets, hotel accommodations, ballpark tours, Cubs swag, and a private meet and greet with a current player. This season's destinations include stops in Pittsburgh and Chicago. For more information, visit Cubs.com/travel.
Identical line scores, 1-3-0 for both teams as Lester is back to work. A little jam shot blooper for Tony Cruz. He's 2 for 2.
I didn't exactly knock the tar out of this one. It was a cut fastball, got in on his hands. A good pitch by Lester. Just an unfortunate result from John's point of view. A little floater for a leadoff knock.
Gore walked in the 3rd. And he bunts. Rizzo will throw late, and he throws it away. And the runners will advance.
Yeah, that was pretty much a no-brainer situation there for Gore with his speed in that situation. With John Lester struggles, he doesn't just struggle throwing to first base in pickoff situations, but when fielding comebackers as well. So he yields to Rizzo, who had a long way to come and get that one, and a do-or-die play probably would have been better off sticking that one in his back pocket.
So second and third with nobody out for Escobar. Ross will walk the ball back out to the mound. Mentioned a sellout crowd today. Cubs earlier this spring set an all-time spring training record, major league spring training record, 15,446. Their home opener on March the 4th. They're averaging over 14,800 for their home dates. Set a ballpark record in Goodyear last night. It's Cleveland at 11,616. Feels like everywhere we go, we see the biggest crowds of the spring. Back to Lester. And the throw is off the mark. The other runner's holding. The bases are loaded.
This time there's no option but for John to make the play. Checks the runner as to sling it over there to first base. Obviously not successfully.
Pitch runner now for Escobar at first. And at some point we'll tell you who it is.
I believe it's Dusty Coleman.
Okay, I'm going with that. I'm going to hold you to it. That is Dusty Coleman. Want to know on Moustakas.
Get it.
Kawasaki will get one, and they get two. So the go-ahead run scores. Cubs do get the 4-6-3 double play.
Can't afford to lay back too long on that ball. Kawasaki with a good feed to Russell. A good quick turn out there at second base. Our double play replay brought to you by State Farm. Kawasaki on to Russell. Or maybe challenged during the regular season. Brought to you by State Farm. Combine your car and home insurance with State Farm and save. Find an agent at statefarm.com. There'd be a neighborhood play out at second base. Prior to this year was not challengeable. Now it is. Which means the middle infielders have to have contact with the bag while they have possession of the baseball. And base runners now have to slide directly towards the base as well. Guess we'll
foul.
Call that the Utley rule.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it.
So we were talking about this the other day, and I said, yeah, you might have cheated a little bit there, right?
I think in the regular season that is ripe for a review, and especially, JD, after the sixth inning when you kind of get freebies, if you're a manager, you're going to ask them to look at it. And that is my only concern is kind of slowing down the game on every double play turned late. Now, Terry Collins, the Mets manager, his worry is that we're telling the infielder to be on the bag, and we're now telling the sliding runner to be on the bag, and he thinks it could create more collisions. A little bit of a different look. Oh, yeah, I mean, that, It's got to be conclusive to overturn. But I think it's safe to say yes. If this were a regular season game, 5th inning, Ned Yost would have called for the headset. Yep. Bounce. Russell had to kind of lay back. And he makes the play. A couple of errors in the inning. Royals lead 2-1.
And more. A new low price for 2016. Watch every out-of-market game for all 30 teams live in True HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Dusty Coleman came in to run for Escobar, and he'll play short. John Lester's afternoon is over. Juan Perez will hit for him. The pitcher spot against the starter Kennedy, and this one's pulled to left, but too much. And foul. I mentioned it earlier. It seems like Kennedy's getting stronger. He has struck out 4 in a row. Ground ball into right.
A quick move to drop the barrel on that fastball and deliver the leadoff single.
Good day for Fowler. A walk, a triple, and a run. That's this one. Fowler out of play.
Well, this is during the regular season, that Yost likely would have the bullpen working. He's got it working now, but even as well as Kennedy is going along here today in the regular season, once they get into the middle innings with a lead, Ned Yost is thinking about passing that baton to his bullpen. That helps explain his one-run strategy, too, as a bunting that he gets criticized for. His thinking, I think, is, hey, if I can get a lead early, even if it's just a one-run lead, and hang on and turn it over to my bullpen, we've got a real good chance. And it's proven to be a prudent strategy for him.
And once again, for a Lexus run predictor, there's that runner at first and nobody out.
Fowler on base both times today. Leadoff walk in the first, triple in the third. He scored.
Good lead by Perez. 1-2 on Fowler. There he goes. And Fowler just got hit. Blow. It actually had hit the dirt.
That bounce, yeah.
That will be it for the starter. So the Cubs have 2 on with nobody out. Trailing 2-1 in the 5th. Here in Mason, we'll be back. Had 2 on with nobody out. Kennedy with that streak of 4 straight strikeouts. Gave up the leadoff single and then hit Fowler to end his afternoon.
Right after you said he's just getting stronger, but you jinxed him.
Apparently so. Maybe he was due to give up a hit.
I'd like to think so. So let's take a look now at our run predictor now. First and second, nobody out. The Cubs cashed in 60% of the time, right around league average. Off a veteran, he's been with the Indians, Yankees, Giants. Last year he was a Dodger for just 3 appearances. Got the bulk of the year at AAA. It's a good changeup.
Be neutralized a bit by a left-handed hitter in Hayward. 1 ball, no strikes.
Probably more fastball, cutter, and occasional curveball to the lefties.
Foul tip.
Hayward, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but just thinking back to his at-bats playing against the Cubs, he seems to be the kind of guy that hangs in there well against left-handed pitching.
a base hit. Right on cue, Hayward ties the ball game. Perez is in, Fowler to third. It's 2-2.
Hayward made a splash when he first came into the big leagues with Atlanta. People thought that the power game would really develop for him. So far it hasn't. He hasn't been a big home run hitter. Lots of doubles. More of a slasher, kind of a lashing swing. It's a lot of line drives.
So I do not want to ruin your narrative because he singled after you said.
But the numbers don't.
No, he's definitely a lot better against righties in his career as Bryant will foul out to Butera with the runners holding. Yeah, you take a 285 hitter with good power and make him a 230 hitter against lefties. Doesn't mean he can't get better at it.
Well, last year he had 272 against left-handed pitching, so chipping away.
Your memory was correct. Well, the thing I really like about Hayward in this lineup is that you don't need him to be that home run guy. If he is, you'll gladly take it. But if he's just Jason Hayward, that'll play very nicely.
Yeah. He hit 27 home runs for the Braves in 2012. His best home run season, and I think that's when people thought, okay, this is a young guy who's still developing, and those numbers are just going to go up and up and up. That has not been the case. He had 13 home runs last year. His best home run year since 2012 was in 13 when he hit 14. He missed some time that year due to injury. Career .353 on base percentage, well above average.
3-0 on Rizzo. We've seen a lot of 3-0 swings so far in the Cactus League. See if that happens here. Nope, 3-1.
See, all the teams apparently are wearing these T-shirts, or they've been issued these T-shirts that say "Train to Reign."
Correct.
R-E-I-G-N.
Yep.
So that's MLB-Y.
Yes.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is it seems like that's more valid in some camps than others. Some teams might be better off just wearing T-shirts that say, practice in the cactus, or just strive for mediocrity, or whatever,
Woot woot in the grapefruit.
Because in the NCAA, they're all wearing those what is it, repping something. Always repping. Joe's motto is now the guys wearing T-shirts, try not to suck.
Yeah, that's become a pretty popular item. Rizzo high and deep to center. Hayward's going to go back and tag. Fowler will score. And Hayward in at second. Gave it a ride, and it nearly left the ballpark. 3-2 Cubs on the sac fly.
A line out, a single, and now this deep drive for Rizzo here today. Towering deep drive, just shy of flying out of here, and great heads-up base running by Hayward. He realized that ball was either going to be out of the ballpark or caught, so he went back and tagged and got himself into scoring position. If you think there's a chance the ball's going to drop in, you go 2/3 of the way, give yourself a chance to score on an extra base hit. Once you realize with the height of the drive that it's either going to fly out of here or the center fielder is going to camp under it, scramble back and tag. That's what Hayward did.
Soler clubs deep to left, and it's gone. A home run. His third of the spring.
Don't sleep on Soler. His playing time diminished with the reacquisition of Dexter Fowler. This guy is a force. Wow, we talk about getting some leverage on that low ball. Incoming.
Five to 2. 4-run fifth. He is 4 for 29. And 3 of the hits have left the ballpark. Russell flies out to Orlando. So the inning is over. Cubs put up 4. Half coming on the Soler line shot homer. They lead 5-2 after 5.
Five to 2. Show you bleed Cubby Blue by becoming a member of the Cubs Club, the official fan club of the Chicago Cubs. Members will enjoy game day audio and exclusive perks throughout the 2016 Cubs season. Now is the perfect time to join, rejoin, or give a fellow Cub fan the gift of a Cubs Club membership. Enroll today. Visit Cubs.com/club.
Here's Pedro Strop. Cubs lead this one 5 to 2. Juan Perez now playing left for Soler. Just got the crowd on its feet with a home run. And a strike on Orlando. Good to see Dave and Lynn Cepeda from Downers Grove, Illinois. They come to all the home games here at Sloan Park. Oh, 0-2. Chop to Bryant. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Our first of 3 spring telecasts here on WGN Sports. Cubs lead 5-2, 6th inning. Perez coming on. He's got it. 2 outs. He gets Fuentes. A bit of a shorter offseason, which is the way we like it. The Cubs went all the way to the NLCS. Mondesi bats lefty this time and takes ball 1.
Strop features a mid-90s fastball. But probably his best pitch is the slider. He gets a lot of swings and misses with that.
This is the kind of inning you like to see. Under 10 pitches for Pedro Strop as he goes 1, 2, 3. Game summary. Cubs put up 4 in the 5th to grab the lead. Jorge Soler with a 2-run homer. Nice day for Dexter Fowler. And make sure you get amazing deals at the Honda Dream Garage Sales event now at your Honda dealer. That track off your iPod?
I don't know. I'm kind of digging it. Yeah.
Here's Wade Davis. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's really good. And pitched an 0.94 ERA last year. Saved 17 and 18 tries. Former starter, turned setup man, turned closer.
Some other changes for the Royals. I think Clint Barmas is now playing third. Ross in the air, left field. And Gore makes the catch. So Whit Merrifield is now playing second. And in right field, do you want to try this one?
What do we got?
We've got Amalani Fuka. Fukofuka.
No way.
is over from minor league camp, so we won't get a look at the name on the jersey.
That's Al Smith, the new right fielder for the Royals.
Kawasaki, base hit in the center.
Minori drifts out onto that front foot, keeps the hands back, flips it through the zone, gets himself a knock. His first today is 1 out of 3. Might be thinking about trying to steal a bag.
Tell you what, the Royals right fielder, he may be battling Socrates Brito for the name of the Cactus League. Runner goes, ground ball to short, little bobble. And Coleman recovers in time to get Juan Perez 2 outs.
Yeah, there was a Padre player the other day too, Jabari Blash or something to that effect. Yeah. Bobble, 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 little mini panic, but at the end of the day, he gets his man. Kawasaki hard into the bag. Little kick, little jump for no reason. Yeah, he's fun to watch play.
Strike called on Fowler.
Watching him last night over there in Goodyear. It was like a 9-2 game, whatever it was, a lopsided game late, and I was watching him out at his position at second base in the 8th inning. He's bouncing around. He was fully engaged. Every now and then he goes down to his knees pre-pitch.
Kawasaki became a YouTube sensation in Toronto. A great postseason or post-game interview. Mark DeRosa, I think, was being interviewed, right? He pulled Munenori into it. He pulled out a script, and it was pretty good. Read it in English. He's able to poke fun at himself, which fits right in here.
Not a kid. He's been around a while. What is he, 33, 34?
Yeah. It's a fair ball. Knocked down by Butera. He'll beat Fowler to the bag. It's 5-2 Cubs after 6.
We head to the 7th. The Cubs will host the 11th annual Race to Wrigley charity run presented by ATI Physical Therapy Saturday, April 23rd at Wrigley Field. 5K course runs through the streets of the Lakeview neighborhood and concludes at Wrigley. Cubs Charities will donate proceeds to support critical care needs for pediatric patients in Chicago through Advocate Children's Hospital. Sign up at racetowrigley.com.
5-2, the Cubs lead here in the 7th. Hector Rondon, the closer, is on after a couple of tough outings. And good segue with the Wrigley 5K as Connie Falcone, the Cubs Director of Community Affairs, has joined us to tell us about all the great things the Cubs do in the community. How are you, Connie?
I'm doing great today, Len. How are you, JD? Good
Connie,
to see you.
Good to see you. All is well.
Yeah, 88 degrees, sun shining, sellout crowd, Sloan Park. This is life is good.
Life is grand. This is fantastic. Let's hope we can bring the sunshine back to Chicago.
Let's discuss Cubs charities. And I know there's never an off season for the community work. And when the season starts, Cubs Charities also are very involved as well, as Ross makes the catch.
Yes, Cubs Charities. We work around the clock all year long, and we're focused on creating improvements for health, fitness, and education for at-risk youth and families in Chicago. And to that effect, we hold lots of fundraisers to help raise money that we can give away throughout the year.
There's Tony Cruz. There's the events calendar. Might be hard to kind of read through all that stuff. How about some of the highlights?
Some of the highlights, well, we start, as JD said, with our Race to Wrigley, which is coming up. It's a great early season race. We encourage everyone to get out there and get fit. We have our annual Bricks and Ivy Ball, which is our signature fundraiser featuring players, and we have a silent auction, a live auction. It's an island theme this year, so we're going to have some fun with it. And coming up, too, we just opened our registration for our Kerry Wood and Friends Charity Home Run Derby at Wrigley Field, which is always a lot of fun.
So the Bricks and Ivy is April 28th. The Kerry Wood event May 28th. It's all strike 3, 2 outs.
Yes, and we would love to get as many folks engaged as possible. We have a lot of player foundation events that we help support as well. As you know, Len and JD, we have a lot of fellows that are interested in giving back to the community through their own foundations, as well as just community appearances that they make throughout the season. So we love to help them with that as well.
Anthony Rizzo has his cook-off for cancer, June 2nd. Theo Epstein's Hot Still Cool Music event, June 17th at Metro. John Lester's Never Quit Goes Country, July 6th. Joe Madden's main event, July 20th. Yeah, it's a busy summer.
It's a busy summer, yeah. And I know you've been involved. Both of you have been really involved in helping us out at our player events, especially Hot Stove. I know it's near and dear to your heart, Len.
Yeah, I mean, there are hard ways to raise money and easy, fun ways. That's easy and fun.
That is.
For all of us.
Yeah, it is. It's a good time. We'd love to see, Cubs fans come out and support those events. It's hard not to find something that might intrigue you out of all those events, right?
How big has the run become? What kind of numbers do you get?
We see about 7,000 runners. Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one.
So CubsCharities.org. People want to learn more about these events, how to donate.
Yes. One thing I'd love to let folks know about is our Cubs on the Move fitness program, which encourages kids to play every day. It's one of the places that our funding goes. We've just launched an online fitness challenge for students and teachers to participate in. It's CubsOnTheMoveChallenge.com, and there are some great, fun contest prizes that kids can win, and teachers can win for their classrooms a $2,500 donation.
Well, that's good stuff. And Hector Rondon with a 1-2-3 7th inning. So all is good. Thanks, Connie.
Thanks so much, guys.
5-2 Cubs. Fan Cam. Sheryl Crow, an appropriate theme for this beautiful day here in Arizona. Sloan Park in Mesa. Right-hander Luke Hochevar, Hector Rondon. That's the kind of outing he wanted. He was pretty excited in the dugout, wasn't he?
Him running off the field, having some fun. He hasn't had a great spring, but a very clean, powerful inning there.
By the way, if I didn't mention it earlier, Jason Hayward moved from right to center. Yeah, there he is. Thanks to Connie Falcone for dropping by. And again, CubsCharities.org to learn more. Make a donation, buy a raffle ticket, a video board message. We'd love for you to get involved. Hard, but picked up by Cody Decker, who's now playing first for Kansas City. And a new spring training record, 15,520.
Now, I may be wrong, but I thought I heard a report on the local news here the other day that overall attendance was down in the Cactus League this year. But not if you're following the Cubs,
no.
not here or when they're on the road.
So let's see. This is the 10th home date for the Cubs. 8 times they've been over 15,000. Easy fly ball to center. This is Brandon Downs to make the catch.
There, they arrange themselves into a pyramid for that shot.
So the Tampa Bay Rays last year averaged 15,322 for the regular season. Cubs have gone over that several times here in Mesa. Ball, no strikes on Rizzo. Ball misses.
Shaver, a former #1 pick. Struggled as a starter with the Royals and has found success since moving to the bullpen.
Javier Baez into the game at short. He's on deck. Kevin Youkilis is in uniform, sitting in the background there with Borzello and Chris Bosio. Looks good in the Cub uniform.
The Greek god of walks.
Finished with a career .382 on base percentage. Ball 4 to Rizzo. We've seen a lot of special instructors here at camp. Randy Hundley, Billy Williams, the Hall of Famer.
The ball girl, bat girl.
Rick Sutcliffe, Ryan Sandberg, another Hall of Famer. Good to see him back in a Cub uniform. Kerry Wood, Ryan Dempster will be here. So Rizzo's afternoon is over. Pinch runner.
It's a Rizzo day right there. 1 out of 2, sac fly, RBI, and a walk.
Logan Watkins is running for him. Breaking ball strike. Throw Barmas, and he makes the play. Shortstop playing third. Didn't look easy. 5-2 Cubs late. Stat of the game, but we're going to supersize the great 8 and make it 9 because the Cubs will have the DH available on opening night in Anaheim. This is just a guess. On our part, you see the two newcomers, Zobrist and Hayward. The good news is, JD, Joe has a lot of options.
Hey, you know, sometimes you hear those stories about a manager with a team that's in a tremendous losing slump, and you can't figure out a winning combination. He'll just throw all the names in a hat and pick out a lineup. Really, Joe could do that on a daily basis and still feel really good with what his lineup looks like.
It is brought to you by Mattress Firm, where we want you to sleep happy, guaranteed. Remember, If it's over 8, it's time to replace. Andrioli makes the catch. So Coleman out. Here's the veteran Clint Barmas. Richard's been sharp here in the early going, and a really nice addition last year.
The Cubs picked him up in July, worked a few games as a starter, and then moved to the bullpen. Solid in the postseason. Did not allow a run in 6 relief appearances.
Strop and Rondon with probably their best outing so far. Each went 1-2-3 in relief of John Lester. Lined and caught by Negron, the second baseman.
We were talking earlier about what the roster might look like on opening day, whether Joe would take 12 or 13 pitchers depending on the makeup of his bullpen and whether he wanted an extra position player or not. There's a couple off days early in the season, and as you mentioned, with guys like Richard and Wood and Cahill, guys who will be stretched out, could give you multiple innings out of the bullpen. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start, with a 12-man pitching staff with an extra bench guy, and then change things up a couple weeks into the season. You start the year, theoretically, your bullpen is perfectly ready to go. Everybody's well rested. They haven't had too much work. They've had enough work. So unless you were to have a couple of real lengthy extra inning games early on, you'd probably be okay in your bullpen, and you could afford to carry the extra position player.
So the versatility of your pitching staff could make it easier to carry an extra bench player, and the versatility of your position players could make it easier for you to carry an extra pitcher, because they've got 3 catchers with Schwarber.
Just depending on where you are, you see, that's one of the changes in the game. The roster machinations through the course of the season, way more up and down depending on need than there used to be years ago.
That'll be a base hit. Baez kind of cheated the other way, expecting maybe a ball to be hit toward the middle. Instead, he pulled it through the hole, and I don't think Javi necessarily had a play anyway. Watch Baez, the shortstop.
He's reading pitch location, and he's also reading the actions of the hitter. He finally started to drift a little bit, so he thought it looked like he was going to be trying to push that ball the other way, but he rolled over on it and pulled it.
Orlando Caliste is running for Infante.
Yeah, but who's hitting?
Amalani Fuka.
It was the #1 hit for Don Ho back in the 70s.
Ball and 1 strike.
I'm going to type it into my Google machine here, but I'm afraid of what's going to come out.
He is a 5th-round pick, 2013. He's from Hayward, California. Base hit. Back-to-back 2-out singles.
Gotta have Hawaiian roots, though, right? A name like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Brandon Downs. grabbed the lead with a 4 spot in the 5th inning. So John Lester, who made that throwing error, he went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, 1 earned. He is the Cubs pitcher of record.
Right, and so there will be stories tomorrow about John and his struggles continuing with the errant throw to first base. And it's a story worth pursuing, obviously. But bottom line, he pitched 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, and more times than not, that's going to help you win a ball game.
Richard with the 0-2. He got him looking, and the inning is over. Royals strand 2, 5-2 Cubs. Team will try to tack on here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Lazy Sunday afternoon. And great to see Pat Hughes and Ron Coomer, Cubs radio tandem. Got a new flagship station, 670 The Score this year. And got that the Brady Bunch box thing working, although we do too, with the way the windows are situated.
Little Hollywood squares, actually.
Right.
Veteran right-hander Ross Ohlendorf on to work for the Royals. Ooh, there's that old school windup.
Paul Bird thing working.
And you should break into your old-timey broadcaster.
We have an update. Breaking news. 3 more people apparently walked into the ballpark. So it's 15,523. Those 3 people might be the record breakers right there.
Don't seem overly impressed by that. They're blasé about their accomplishment. Act like they've been there before.
Grown held, another intriguing guy. Could play just about everywhere defensively. We saw him a fair amount with the Reds. He's had a good spring at the plate as well. He strikes out looking. Three guys making a bid for a roster spot, and all seeing action today. And those numbers going into today. In Andreoli's case, you've had some injuries to Matt Merton, Matt Caesar, and Shane Victorino, so he's probably grabbed a little extra playing time and has taken advantage of it. He's on deck as Albert Almora takes a strike. Most Cub fans know all about Albert Almora. Terrific center fielder defensively. Still only 21 years old. It's a fly ball to right. It's our guy, Fuka, to make the catch.
Yeah, that's the thing. You forget about Almora. He's been on the scene for a while now, or at least on the radar of Cubs fans who are aware of the players down in the minor leagues, and they scour those prospect lists. And in some people's minds, he took a step back a little bit last year, but he's still a kid. He'd still be in college had he not signed out of high school. He's got a tremendous skill set, great understanding of the game. He's going to be a fine major leaguer, I think.
And Rioli takes ball one.
And the big right-hander with the crackerjack fastball and the whiplash curveball, Ross Ohlendorf. Former Princeton Tiger. There's a couple of them on this team. Chris Young is with this Royals club as well.
And Ohlendorf's high school baseball coach was Keith Moreland.
Zonk would have appreciated that old school windup.
2-1 on the University of Connecticut product, John Andreoli. Another one into the corner. And Fuka makes a catch.
Please hit it to somebody else.
We go to the ninth, 5-2 Cubs. Next weekend on Saturday, 3 o'clock Central Time. That's the 26th of March. We'll have another huge crowd here in Mesa. There's a good lid. Ninth inning. And right-hander Spencer Patton trying to get these final 3 outs. Whit Merrifield takes ball 1.
Cubs acquired Patton in a trade with the Rangers in the offseason. Last year, 27 big league games, 1-1 with a high ERA. That was with the Rangers. Also pitched for Texas the year before.
Loved by Baez.
Smooth like butter out there. Very smooth. Spencer Patton originally drafted and signed by the Royals, 24th round, June of 2011. A native of Urbana. Pitched at SIU Edwardsville.
Cody Decker first. Victor Caratini is now catching and has been catching for a bit. I just hadn't mentioned it. One ball and no strikes.
This game is a bit of an oddity in that it's kind of a normal score. Seems like so many of the games I've seen this spring have been lopsided one way or the other.
Cubs 4 consecutive days this past week. They lost 10-2. They won 11-1. They lost 10-0 and then won 15-4. So you're absolutely right. Swing and a miss.
After today, there'll be 9 more here in Cactus League play before moving on to those 2 games in Vegas against the Mets. Yeah, you could leave like your luggage here. Just carry on to go to Vegas and Anaheim and then come right back to Arizona.
Don't think I won't. You have given me an idea. Although, what am I going to do when I'm there? If I'm leaving all my stuff here, I'm going to wear the same outfit every day.
You know you're going to carry a small, just enough to get you through those 4 or 5 days.
You have given me something to think about. You walked him. That will be it for Patton. Here comes the manager. Joe will make a change here in the 9th. 1 out and a man on. Cubs leading 5-2. 1 out, 9th inning. Cubs lead by 3, and a runner on.
Hara signed a minor league contract with the Cubs back in February with an invite to Major League camp. Plenty of experience, former starter with the Brewers, and then made the move to the bullpen. He had some success out there, first with Milwaukee and then moving on to Cincinnati. That's where he was last year. He was 1-2 in 40 appearances with a 3.90 ERA, pitching for Cincinnati last season.
Tony Cruz, who's 2 out of 3. His former team just signed Ruben Tejada. They had a hole at short to start the year. Cardinals with Johnny Peralta's thumb injury.
And Peralta could be on the shelf until June.
And Rioli makes a nice running catch for out number 2. So it's Logan Moon. 2 outs here in the ninth. Soler and Moon in this game. Should be in Jupiter, Florida. Strike on him. Chopper up the middle. Baez can't get a handle on it. He got it with the glove, but it was the exchange to the throwing hand that was the problem. And that would have been a very difficult play.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had a play. Slick glove work, though. Good range. Saw him make a couple of really nice plays in center field in the ball game last night.
Bring up Dusty Coleman, representing the tying run. Questions about young guys being part-time players and how it affects their development and success at this level. Guys like Baez and Soler. I do think, JD, that Baez moving around, giving him that extra challenge of other defensive positions will be a good thing for a guy who's not expected to play every day.
Yeah, and it'll give Joe Madden an opportunity to find ways to get him in the lineup, hopefully enough where he can be productive as a hitter. All the while having a valuable backup in case somebody goes down and you need him to play every day. So you're going to have a plus defender you can bring off the bench late. A dangerous pinch hitter you could take you out of the ballpark.
Back up Russell at short, Zobrist at second, even Rizzo at first. He mentioned center to play third. 2 strikes on Coleman.
that's going to be one of the challenges for Joe. He's got to find a way to get him some starts. He's not a guy like Johnny Herrera on last year's club where he was a backup that you could sit for 2 weeks and then run him out there. Baez is a guy you're going to want some production out of, so you got to find a way to get him an occasional start to keep him sharp.
Swing and a miss. Throw will go to first. Cubs win. The Cubs beat the Royals in Cactus League play. 5-2 our final, and we'll have more in a moment.